Hi there, welcome to SportsCenter from the nation's capital. I'm Scott Van Pelt. By now, you know the drill. We have all of the day in the National Football League for you. Tim is here. Best thing I saw. Take a guess what that might be. Well, it's actually just a couple of plays from the lunacy at Mile High. You had back-to-back possessions that resulted in deflections for touchdowns. Bo Nix looking for Cortland Sutton. Troy Franklin is there. That got the Broncos back in this thing. It's 19-8. But 10.5 to go, 3rd and 17. Jackson Dart's pass deflected Theo Johnson for a touchdown. These are back-to-back possessions, and that's not the half of what is cooked into the most ridiculous 15 minutes of football we've seen this season. That highlight is forthcoming. The Sunday nighter by the Bay, Falcons fresh off a statement victory over Buffalo on Monday night. Welcome back, George Kittle. A few plays later, this was really a critical spot because it's 3rd and 13. Jones finds who else? McCaffrey. Now you're worried about the clock. If you're Atlanta, you're calling timeouts. And McCaffrey here gets held up at about the 3. You're not allowed to pull him into the end zone. Connor Colby actually does. Now, McCaffrey's wheels are still spinning there, but he had some help from one of his big friends up front. Niners extend the lead. They get the football back. They're able to take knees. They double up Atlanta to move to 5-2. Tim Hasselbeck is with us as he is on Sundays. Let's just start with 23. I would have lost that bet. If you said 201 scrimmage yards, it just feels like he's had so many monster games for them. But they really leaned on him in this game. They were able to deploy him in all sorts of ways. What do you like about the way they're using him? Well,
I think just they're creative in their run game. Look, he's great every way he touches the football. Sure. They're good in the pass game as well, but creative in the run game is key. Just watch what happens here. Motion the tight end inside, and just look at the little adjustment that it gets you right here. Now, here's why it's important. A little bit of width there because they're going to run power. So basically, it's down to the backside backer, and then you're going to pull the guard, and then you're getting a kick-out block by Kyle Juszczyk. But it's that little motion that gives you the angles. And then look at the running lane. And then there's Christian McCaffrey into the second level. And so it seems like a little thing, but it happens quite a bit. Here's Juszczyk. This little motion to bring him back into like the weak formation here. Watch what it does to the linebackers when he gets to that. They all move. Yep. They all shift. Yep. Okay. Why that's important is you're going to see Trent Williams. He's just going to end up slipping inside because what they have is Jennings is going to basically set the edge, right, by seal the edge. Well, Trent Williams can then slip through. Remember those linebackers that reset when the backfield motion? Well, now you can cut it off, and now you're on the perimeter. So it's little stuff like that when people wonder, like, man, how come Kyle Shanahan's offenses always seem to be able to run the football well? Because there's little nuances to the run game, formationally, how they move guys to get angles to give guys a better chance to have success.
Yeah, and when it was the real money moments in this game, they deployed their asset in McCaffrey. And in Atlanta's case, 4th and 1 late, you don't have the guy that his head coach called the best player in football after the Monday night win on Buffalo. Now, we could dissect that, but if we've got time for one, and I'm told we have time for one, I'd rather focus on San Francisco and just ask you this. You're down the heart and soul in Fred Warner. You're down Bosa, you're down your quarterback. You're down a number of other significant contributors on offense, and you still win this game. You beat the Rams on the road. I don't want to fall into cliche here, but what accounts for this organization's ability to win games like this, where you see lesser teams around the NFL just get trucked in spots like this?
I think there's a couple of things. Is one, Kyle Shanahan knows how to, I think, connect with his players. Right, John Lynch has done a good job adding talent there, but they talked on the broadcast how, look, Fred Warner didn't walk into the league as a Hall of Famer. Like, he had to prove that he could do it. He had to prove himself as a player. And I think there's a thing coaches can do. I think Andy Reid does it. I think Kyle Shanahan does it. When guys go out, which is going to happen in pro football, there are guys that look around and say, well, wait a second, I'm replacing a Pro Bowler. I'm replacing a guy that's going to go to the Hall of Fame one day. But when the coaches believe in the players, because They're the ones that they've chosen to be a part of that organization. And those guys play well. Then all of a sudden, like, you can build off of that. And so, yeah, you might be playing with a bunch of backups, but it doesn't mean you can't have success with them.
Of the day. I showed you a couple of plays from it. And at about 6 o'clock Eastern, if you told me we'd have this in the A block, I'd wonder what the hell happened. Well, here's what happened. The Giants largely control this football game. They lead 7-0. It's 3rd and 11. Here comes Cam Scatteraboo, and he wants to make sure, boom, you can take that with you. He's going to deliver a blow and get his touchdown. Jude McAtomney. Oh, that's no good. It's just long enough that it's not a given. 13-0. So what? You're about to add to it as Tyrone Tracy here has a gigantic opening. That's as easy a score as you're going to see in the league. Broncos with Nix, same idea. This time he throws to R.J. Harvey, the rookie. And it's now a 3-point game. Ensuing Giant drive. And this is a very quick 3 and out as he's looking deep for Robinson. Overthrows him. Broncos, 3rd and 11. This is as big a throw and big a moment as there was in this game. It's one of those classic underthrows where Marvin Mims Jr. sees it, makes a great play on it. Denver's in field goal range, but here goes Nix again. What a great play design, and he has got a wide open alley. And stunningly, Denver has the lead. But this young team, led by a couple of rookies in part on offense at key positions, they don't fold. This is 4th and 19. Dart to Robinson. A roughing the passer adds 15. Later in the drive, 3rd and 10. Missed extra point earlier, looming large because a field goal won't tie. Dart's got time because Denver's deploying most of their folks back deep, looking for Bo Collins. PI is called on Riley Moss. That's tough. Sean Payton's livid. He knows it's a spot foul, so he can come out there and get his money's worth for that 15 because it's only going to move the ball a little bit. Dart up the middle. Initially, they said no. They take a look and realize that's a touchdown. Knees are up, hips not down. Ball crosses the line. Dart's going nuts. Extra point. And that's pushed wide right. The second missed extra point of the game, which now means Bo Nix, who's suddenly red hot in the thin air, if you can get to about here, you're in field goal range. Mims Jr., a gain of 29. Now it's Sutton, and you're for sure in field goal range. And it's Will Lutz, out of timeouts, clean operation, don't anyone jump, keep your poise, clock it. And now we need the kick to finish off this improbable victory. Snap, hold, toe meets leather, and Denver stunningly walks it off for the victory. Bo Nix on the comeback.
I was thinking about how I was going to answer questions if we got shut out. Not where you want to be. And, at some point I knew we've done it before in the fourth quarter. We're going to, at some point we're going to go down and score. Now, maybe too late, we may not score enough, but at some point we're going to do it. We did it once we scored and got the 2-point conversion. We knew how to play all of a sudden. So it was just, I don't have many answers, but, we just kept fighting.
Including Denver's victory on Sunday, teams who trail by 18 inside of 6 minutes now, 2 and 3,677 since the merger. The other to pull off this feat, the 2003 Colts against the Buccaneers. Wasn't that Monday Night Football? I believe it was. On the losing side, you saw how upset the head coach was, and you can understand. Here's Brian Dable and Jackson Dart.
Tough loss. Put their heart and soul into it. So, not a lot of talking that needs to be done when you lose a game like that. Everybody gave everything they had.
Were you beating yourself up over the interception?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't do that. We were in full control of the game. In that situation, you can't do that. I gotta be way better than that. That's unacceptable. I gotta be better.
Tim, with us as promised. Something like this can only happen if you stack many, many factors, obviously. But Bo Nix, he said it. I'm thinking, how do I answer questions after we get shut out? He and they had nothing going. And the analogy I made when I walked into the studio tonight is it felt a little bit like a three-point shooter, a really good three-point shooter who can't buy one, and then one goes in, and then it's the ocean. Is that a fair way to describe how Denver got this cooking, at least the offensive portion of it?
I mean, it feels like it. Look, I've heard people describe quarterbacks that way. I can't say I've ever played with one, been around one that was like that. I feel like you and I have talked about Bo Nix as being kind of streaky in the past. I mean, last year, he'd rip off 15 completions in a row, and then other games look like, what's he looking at? I think clearly when you hear him talk, there's a confidence about how I think he feels like he's seeing the game right now. And listen, sometimes there's some good fortune. You mentioned it with the tip pass that goes for a touchdown. I think the ball that, the play we just saw prior to that one, I actually think he's throwing to the in cut. He
looked like
hits the clear route running inside of it. But there's also a confidence, I think, about him. And I would just say this. Haven't been around somebody who's been streaky, but have struggled, have seen guys struggle. It is hard to pull yourself out of that. I don't know what it's like in basketball. You see one go in and it changes it. It doesn't really work that way in football. In football, you feel like you're playing uphill. Feels like there's 15 defenders out there. So pulling yourself out of that is remarkably difficult. And I think that was what was impressive about how he stuck with it. 14 minutes in the fourth quarter, they were basically shut out until that point.
That's great context, and it makes a lot of sense because it's not the same as making a shot, but clearly the fuse got lit and they win. I don't want this to sound like loser talk, and I'm sure Dable would punch me in the face if he heard me say it. But the Giants did a ton good in this football game. I get that you lose, you miss a couple of extra points, but can New York, who takes on Philadelphia and then San Francisco and then at Chicago coming up, I mean, it's a pretty rugged schedule, but there seems like there's a lot there to like. Am I wrong?
Look, they've lost their best wide receiver for the season. They started the year with Russell Wilson as their starter. You look at them play right now, it's the quarterback's grittiness and competitiveness and playmaking ability. It's the running back's, grittiness and toughness. The identity of the football team is changing because of, quite honestly, two players.
Yeah.
So, look, does that sound like loser talk, moral victory? Sure, it probably does. But there's going to be learning lessons for a young quarterback. You mentioned it. It's the miss on 3rd and 8. It's the interception in the series prior to that. If you don't do that, you don't lose the football game. You've got to learn from those things. But you also can't stop playing the way he's playing, which he did not do. When he left the field, they were winning the football game.
Thank you. That's always my thing. Last time he touched the football, they had the lead. So New York did a ton right in this one, but give Denver all the credit in the world. They got the victory. Get to this full highlight in a bit as Dallas cruises. Washington, Jayden Daniels goes down in the 3rd quarter. Initially, you're afraid it's a knee. It was a hamstring concern. His post-game press conference, Dan Quinn, who was not a happy man, as you can understand, said Daniels will have an MRI on Monday. They play a week from tomorrow night against Kansas City in Arrowhead. Washington opened the season 20-1 to win the Lombardi after they made the NFC title game last year. Now 35-1 after Sunday's loss to win the conference. They are plus 850 behind only the Eagles, Lions, and Packers, and that number has now doubled. Obviously, Tim, I don't have to ask you, would it be bad if they didn't have Jayden Daniels? Clearly. But even with him in this game, they faced an uphill climb. Their next 3 games are against Kansas City, Seattle, and Detroit come here. Then they go overseas to take on the Dolphins in Madrid. Biggest concern from Washington, just looking at what they are as a team, is what?
Well, listen, the fact that their defense wasn't playing well. You mentioned it in terms of what the hopes and aspirations were for this team. They were a Super Bowl contending team in a lot of people's eyes coming into the season and couldn't find ways to get stops, get off the field. And now when you just look at the landscape of what's happened in the NFC East with, a game against Dallas that they drop and Dallas being ahead of them in the standings and that coinciding with the fact that you might be without your quarterback going forward, Yeah, like it's like how you weather the storm of that when the expectations were so high,
Right.
I think is going to say a lot about the resolve of the team.
And we'll find out potentially Monday about the MRI results again with a game against Kansas City coming next Monday. You'll have some thoughts on the Chiefs, who look like a very different team all of a sudden, as we thought they might. When the battle of division leaders, Chargers need a victory to keep pace with Denver. The Colts, no one has led for more time in games this season. You have those beautiful powder blues and you wear these. You're like a highlighter. Nothing makes me sound older than complaining about uniforms. Jonathan Taylor, oh, my leg. He is the NFL's touchdown leader entering the day, and he continued to do his thing. Missed extra points, 6-0. It's now 6-3. Jones fakes to Taylor. Michael Pittman Jr., that's a 4th down touchdown. Steichen pushing all the right buttons. Jones has been brilliant. The Colts playing from ahead again. It's 3rd and goal. Brilliant rookie from Penn State, Tyler Warren. 20-3. Colts. Ensuing Chargers drive. Approaching the red zone. Grover Stewart. Got to put your mid up in the air. And then it goes so high in the air, he's got time to identify where it is and squeezes it. That makes everybody happy. No doubt Swagoo will have that on big man ball and soft hands as well. That kind of day for the home team. Herbert, 3rd and 7. What a pick. I see you, Terp. That's Nick Cross. Chargers come up empty, and the Colts, excellent execution. It's not a sexy part of the highlight, so it's not in there, but they were great before halftime to get 3. You know what they like better than 3? 6, and then an extra point to make it 7. Taylor again. Actually, they didn't kick an extra point. They went for 2 to be ahead by 21. Chargers get a touchdown, and Taylor does it again, 94 yards. His 3rd game this season with 3 touchdowns. The Colts win it by 14 on the road. Now, Thursday night when he was here, Damon Woody sat right there and made a point to mention this game as he felt like it offered a chance for Indianapolis to further prove itself. On the road against a capable defense, how would the Colts look? The same. They look the same. Now they're 6-1. They've scored 29 or more in all 6 wins. 4 of those wins are by double digits. This was the 3rd time they never trailed in a game at all. They have the largest point differential in the league. You want more? All right, they play in the AFC South, where the chief competition seemed to be Jacksonville, but they've fallen flat after that Monday night win at home over the Chiefs. All of this is to say, you don't need to squint to see it or pretend like the Colts might be a good football team. This is a really good football team. Now, there are some stiff road tests coming, but 7 games in, their consistent level of play suggests that they're not going to be overmatched by anybody. Second team since 1950 with as many or more first downs as their opponent had plays in the game, joining the Steelers in '99 against the Browns in Cleveland's first game in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, it is rare that I look up and see my guest and say, damn, I should have got dressed up. Trent Williams joins us. Trent and Scott Van Pelt, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for taking a minute.
SVP, what's up, man? Appreciate you for having me.
Not at all. Hey, congratulations on the win. I said to Tim Hasselbeck earlier, I feel like this is an organizational win. It's institutional excellence. It's not making excuses for who's not here. It's believing that who we've got is enough. Is that a fair way to describe your guys' approach, both in that win at LA and this win tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to describe it. You know, that's the only thing Kyle preaches all year, even in the training camp, is, you know, next guy up, next guy be ready. Even the guys who get cut, you know, it's a chance you're going to be back, you know. Injuries happen. So, you know, this team is conditioned. We conditioned, you know, a couple years ago we lost all our quarterbacks. That's what the Cinderella story begins with Brock. So, yeah, I think that's part of things. Obviously, it's not a good thing, but we've been through a lot of injuries in the past, so that's conditioned us to play through them.
It's my understanding, Trent, that on the NBC broadcast, you mentioned that Kyle said to everybody, look, this is a CMC week. We're going to ride 23. When you know that we're going to deploy the weapon in every way we can. I would imagine, given what you do for a living, that's fine. Like, let the big man eat. What's your approach when you know that you're going to saddle him up and ride all night?
Oh, man, I'm licking my chops, man. I'm literally licking my chops. Saying we're going to get 40 runs is a lineman's dream. Especially with as much exotic blitz as you see from the Falcons. We never wanted to get in those third and long situations. We didn't think that would fare well for us. So hearing that it'd be a Christian night, I was super delighted, and I knew that we could take advantage of that.
I'll let you get that. In the business, it's called an IFB, and sometimes it pops out of your ear, and there's nothing worse than when it does that. But you got it situated now.
Yeah,
you can hear me.
That's all good.
I get that you guys
Right.
are mentally tough, and I appreciate that. But when you lose a guy like Fred, who's one of my very favorite guys in this league, please give him my regards. Like, how do you absorb a loss like that and just keep on trucking?
The clock don't stop. The sun go down and come up again the next day.
I hear you.
Nobody's going to feel sorry for us. Everybody can obviously, send some sympathy, but when we step on that field, nobody's going to care. Nobody cares who's not there. All they care about is who's in front of them, and they want to embarrass us no matter what. So, it sucks, but we got to keep going. And Fred has been here every step of the way, even after the surgery. We've seen Nick. Those guys haven't left the facility. They here, they inspire. So, that's just how life goes at this point in the NFL.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Trent. I mean, every team's got injuries. We understand that. It just feels like you all have dealt with more than most, and maybe in a weird way, that helps you guys just understand we've done this before and we're going to keep doing it. I know you don't want any more, but is that essentially what this is about? That we've dealt with it and we will again?
Yeah. Like I said, we lost our couple quarterbacks, a few years ago and end up in the NFC Championship. So, obviously it's nothing that we want to hang our hat on, but we've been through it enough we know how to get through it. And, that's easy to say when you have Fred and you're getting through, and you have Nick and you're getting through other injuries. But when those two people go down, obviously it's not an easy feat, but it's something that we don't have a choice. It's not like we can turn it down. We got to go out there and play regardless.
Trent, I'm old and washed, and I can't wear a hat like that. What do we got working? Is there it looks like it's got some little bit of fabric and some down in it? Are you sweating a little bit? I mean, what are we working with up top tonight?
Oh, yeah, a little Prada ensemble I put together,
it's nothing,
man.
it's a little Prada. A little Prada. Excuse me.
Yeah, a little Prada.
My God. Hey, I'll just get you. I'm going to make sure you get your plugs in for your gear. I see that Prada tag on that jacket as well. Listen, you've earned the money to buy what you're wearing, man. We miss you around here in D.C. where I do my show. You stay healthy, and I thank you for taking a minute tonight, all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man. Take care, man. Thank you for having me again.
Always. Trent Williams, ladies and gentlemen.